Hello everybody, we are doing a little video to try to describe what's going to be different about coming to Mass this weekend. We've been working to prepare to receive the crowds and still maintain our physical distancing when we come into the church. And so this is going to be a little short video to explain to you what you expect when you come to Mass on Sunday, because your cooperation and your patience is going to be crucial to our celebration of what's going on. And so we're starting outside because we're going to direct everyone into the church through the one central door. So we're asking everybody to come up this sidewalk in front of the church, and we're going to have markers so that while you're coming up, you can wait in line. One of the major differences of Mass this weekend is we're going to have to help everybody find a seat. We can't let everyone just come and claim a seat. We're marking off the pews according to social distancing. And so when you arrive at church, we're going to direct everyone to come up this center part of the sidewalk. And then when you go into the church, there will be someone there to identify a seat for you. And so we'll ask you to wait in line until you get to the person. Tell them how many people you would like to sit with, and he's got a chart that will give us seats of 2 or 3 or 4 or more than 4 if necessary, and then ushers will direct you to where to go from there. And so we ask everyone as you come up here to be in line to go ahead and have your mask on, because everyone will be seated and everyone will be required to wear your mask throughout the Mass in the church. And so as we come in, you'll come into the central door and there'll be someone waiting. We'll have someone waiting here to identify the seat for you. We will have a team of ushers available, and so everyone will be asked to follow the usher to the seats. You will have your masks on, and we will get everyone situated in their place. And so one of the things that we're asking is that you arrive early for Mass. This is going to take longer to get situated than it normally would, but this will allow us to maximize the space we have in the church. So we're marking off the pews in order to get as many people as possible into the church, and we need to know how many that we have. So once the church is full, then we have seats set up in the Family Life Center for overflow, so we will be able to handle the crowds. But it will only work if we know who is here and can keep track of the number of people as they come in. And so again, I ask for your patience. I ask you to be courteous, to maintain the distancing while you wait, and allow the ushers that are learning how to do this themselves to guide you so that we can get situated and have the best celebration of Mass possible. So when we come into the church, then things are going to be different. We're trying to minimize the touching of different things. We're going to remove all of the hymnals from the pews. We're not going to pass around the collection baskets. And so for our collections, just in front of the baptismal font, we will have 2 baskets. And so we would ask that as you come in the door, you put your offering into the collection baskets. We will have them available at the end as well if people weren't able to make their offering as they came in. And so we will handle the collection by the entrance and the exit with Mass. So then as we come into the church, you'll notice that every other pew is blocked off to help us with the distancing. And then in the pews that we are using, they're divided into sections, which is why we need ushers to guide you to those sections, because we need to know whether it's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or more people in each of those sections. And so when you come into the church, everything will look a little bit different, but we will have ushers to guide you, and then everyone that can't fit into the church will take through the side doors into the Family Life Center, where there is additional seating, and between the church and the Family Life Center, we should be able to accommodate everybody that we have. And so then, as we come into the church and get our places, we'll begin the celebration of Mass, and it will be like normal throughout the Mass. We will not touch at the sign of peace. We will not receive communion from cups, and so it will be similar to what we had started doing just before shutting down. And so the majority of the Mass will be as it always is, with just the social distancing, and again the reminder, everyone has to wear their masks throughout the celebration. And so the next thing I want to describe is what will happen with communion. And so at the time of communion, we will have 4 stations for communion here in the church. Anyone that is sitting in the Family Life Center, we will have someone bring communion there. and so we will take care of that as we need it. And so at the time for communion, we will have 2 people in the center and then 1 in the side aisles. And so we're going to ask people to come up by one whole section of pews. And so in the front, we have enough space so that these 2 sections can come together. But on the sides, we will do one whole section and then ask the other section to come after everyone has received. And we will give instructions about all of this as Mass is celebrated. So we're going to demonstrate now the instructions for Mass. I'll be standing here. There's tape on the floor to indicate the 6 feet spacing. So as you're in line, you're able to maintain the distancing yourself. When it's time for communion, I would ask that you place your hands in as flat as you are able while your mask is still on. And then as you receive communion, then you can take communion into your fingers, lift up the bottom of your mask, and receive communion. So we'll demonstrate now what we are talking about. So you'll come to communion. There's a piece of tape in front of the pew. The person in front of you will receive. When they step aside, you come forward. You place your hands. We will put communion into your hands. Then you step aside. And then use your fingers and lift up the bottom of the mask to receive communion and return to your pew. The last part of the instructions are what we're going to need to do at the end of Mass, because of course the crowd that is coming to the Mass after you needs to have a church that has been disinfected. And so to try to do that as quickly as possible, and in order to avoid having to form teams to clean all of the pews, we're going to ask that each person clean the area where you have been sitting before you leave. And so at the end of Mass, we will ask you to disinfect with wipes the area that you have. And so we're asking everyone to bring your own wipes. And so you'll only need 1 per family. We will have some available if you haven't been able to purchase any. But if you have any wipes, bring a small package with you. And then you'll need 1 of them to wipe down all of the wood surfaces in the pew. And at the very end of Mass, before we dismiss everyone, we will ask everyone to do this. We will have ushers with additional wipes for those that need them, so that we can wipe off the pews, and then we will have a crew that cleans other surfaces and things behind you. And then, in order to maintain our distancing at the end of Mass, as everyone is dismissed, we have to ask you to leave without congregating. We will not be able to greet people as we normally would, and so we will dismiss pews in certain sections. We're asking everyone to enter the church from the center door, but we will be able to use the side doors for our exit. A couple of other things that we would ask people to pay attention to. Again, minimizing contact, minimizing what we touch. And so our bathrooms are still going to be open, but we would ask those of you who have children especially to take a little extra precaution. Make sure your children use the bathroom before they come to church so that we have less movement in the church, fewer trips to the bathrooms, so that we can all work together to care for each other, to try to minimize contact for those who are with us who might be more vulnerable to this virus. And so at the end of this video, I ask for your patience, I ask for your charity, and I ask that you keep at the heart of at your heart in this celebration why we are returning. We return because the Lord offers himself as our food. This hunger for the Eucharist that has been growing in us can be fed. And one of the fruits of the Lord in us is our charity, is our kindness. And so please approach the Masses this weekend with the disruptions and limitations that we have, with always greater patience, always greater kindness, with the charity that reflects the work of God in our lives.